Good morning. Welcome to Flat Earth Early Bird number 1601. I'm your host, Arwin. And before we start the show, please don't forget to share it on any platform you deem fit. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That'd be much appreciated, and I can really use it. So please keep the support coming, guys. Help keep me afloat here. Right. So, yeah, the weather today definitely cooled down a lot. It's become pretty clouded. There's a bit of wind. And, yeah. It hasn't really rained or anything, but it could. And we'll see what the weather brings today. Left my plants in the kitchen today. Hello, logical observations first in chat. Thanks. Yeah, 1600th show was great. I watched it all back, and it was really good one. So, yeah, pretty much all the way. So yeah, I'm very satisfied about that. It was a good summary, although I did really notice that I forgot something that's kind of like personal. I completely forgot about the optical slant concerning optics pre-Black Swan realization. The optical slant. I completely forgot to mention that and show it, because that was really a thing. Like, that was what I figured out, like an intuitive way to help understand how you see, like how you actually see things. Right. With all the effects of diffraction and all that. But oh well, that one was left out, and dude, I could have technically also brought in more detail with my early bird show themes later on, with the no viruses and the German new medicine and spirit mechanics in more detail, but yeah, I mostly just stuck to Flat Earth. But yeah, great show. And it was great. It was like actually kind of fascinating listening back. So yeah, great show yesterday. Right. So yeah, today another day. Hope Flat Earth debates is gonna just run all the way and not Nathan's computer gonna break down again like it did on Friday. But apparently he's tinkered on it a lot and he's really satisfied now or something. But I mean, yeah, this could be like a weekly event. Oh, it was super stable. Oh, wait, it wasn't super stable. Oh, look, I got it super stable again. Oh, wait, it wasn't super stable. Oh, I got it stable again. Oh, it isn't super stable. Yeah. So I hope Nathan at some point just kind of stops doing it. Or not, and this is just the way it's gonna be then. Whatever, anyhow. Right. Any suggestions on what I should be talking about today? I feel pretty fresh. Although, yeah, I had a bit of trouble sleeping and all that weird stuff. Noises, and somebody called me in the middle of the night. That was really weird. Didn't pick up, but that was like 4:30. Very bizarre. And it was with a recognizable number from the south of the Netherlands. So that was like, what is this? Something weird. I was thinking like maybe that's my ex or something, but I doubt it. Or yeah, like why the fuck would she call me like in the middle of the night? I don't know. Whatever it was, it kind of broke my sleeping rhythm. So just slightly wonky, but overall I'm doing fine. And I got a bit of salad, which is really helping a lot. Anyway, hello Richard G, good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, all my roommates are all back. So that's been kind of pleasant. Oh yeah, yes. Also, another thing that was weird is that in the night I discovered that the toilet was kind of plugged, and I tried to unplug it. Didn't really work out. That kind of stressed me out. But one of my other roommates fixed it this morning. Thank God. So I didn't have to like find a trashed toilet or something. Right. Things are good now. Yesterday was kind of a boring day, to be fair. Besides watching my own show back. But it was just not a lot happening out there. I was kind of like diving on YouTube, see what I'd bump into. Ended up watching shorts and found some interesting stuff there. I mean, you get like, ooh, what is this? But yeah, also just some interesting figures out there. But man, just watching shorts for like an hour straight, like that wears on you. And there's some real garbage in there too, like just complete waste of time garbage. Anyhow, let's see. Yeah, just looking at the history, it's all filled with YouTube. So many of them. That's a lot of short. Yeah, I know. And also bumped into like Nathan Oakley and Flatsoid Shorts, and even Martin Liedke is doing that. So it's kind of funny in between all of it bumping into them. All right. For some reason you're not into that. Well, that's not strange at all, Richard G. I mean, as I said, I very rarely, but sometimes end up doing that because there's like nothing around. Just nothing else. But I mean, there's like weird little tips, like creative tips with like home improvement style. There's a lot of that sort of thing. And there's some pretty neat stunts as well. And funny clips, but I mean, yeah, a lot of the funny clips are just kind of lame, really. But some of them are like pretty freaking hilarious. So it's kind of like random what you're gonna bump into. Sometimes it's cool, and sometimes it's just really lame and just stupid. I mean, I really hate the shorts and it's like Instagram and TikTok where it's just women be like, like, I don't care. I don't care about you and your fucking face. Go away. This is like, oh yeah, there's those vain women. I freaking hate it. It's such a waste of time. Right. But I mean, if you can just flick away quickly, I mean, I can spot those types of videos very quickly. It's like, like, gone, next. Right. But there's some really funny guys on there too. So I bumped into the stylofoam guy. It was like a really silly, funny, I think he's like, might be Russian or somewhere in Scandinavia. A guy. And he's like always making jokes about his stylophone playing. He does that and guitar, and like he's obsessed with that thing. And it's freaking hilarious. And he's like really good with it too. And it reminds, like, the way he uses that is like, yeah, that's like electro music, like the type of bands that, like gothic type scenario bands that I would visit. And like that guy seems like he might actually have been performing at some point with that, and that I might have like been there live or something. So it's like he was like vaguely familiar to me. So he might be one of those guys that actually is part of electro bands that I danced on and all that. But yeah, he makes funny videos. Let's see. He's reminds me a little bit about what is it again? That Davey bass guy, except this guy, like Davey's very meme-ish and he like over edits everything. This guy doesn't really do that. He's just kind of silly. Let's see. Yeah, Maro 1337. That's the guy. And yeah, he's kind of silly, but he's great. I mean, it's funny to have watched that. I mean, you're not going to be like, oh man, I want to see that every freaking day, but it's funny to check it out. And it's very electro scene oriented. I mean, you can make some pretty sweet sounds with that silly, old-fashioned synthesizer sounding device. But he does it very eloquently when he wants to. So, yeah. I mean, that's part of... I watched a lot. He has a lot of shorts. A lot. So that's how I suddenly roll into that, and yeah. It's freaking hilarious. Some of it, not all of it. Right, so yay! Silly shorts! Isn't that amazing? Right. Anyway, that's what I've been doing yesterday, not a lot. Right, so what have you guys been up to? Or is it gonna be one of those Mondays where everybody just sits and shuts up for 2 hours straight? I'm not really in a very blabbery mood. I kind of got all of it out yesterday. What kind of greens in my salad? Ricola, and I don't know what the other one is. It's green and purple, and this is Ricola, apparently. But it all works. It's bitter and it's kind of gross, but it feels really good once it's inside, so... Green and purple, you like it? Yeah, me too. It's like, dude, if you put this in front of me when I was a little kid, I'd be like, ew! Ew, no! I don't want it! Not like that. I did never use the whiny voice like that, but that whiny voice would definitely be on the inside of my head. And now I'm like, yeah! Yeah! Moo! Moo! It's so gross. It's so gross. It literally feels like I'm a cow just eating grass. It kind of tastes like grass. A little better than grass. But I mean, I just know it feels so healthy. It's kind of funny how your knowledge can completely negate your senses. In a sense, it's like, yeah, it tastes really gross, but I know it feels really great, and then like that really gross tasting effect just kind of like falls to the background. It's like, nah, but it's really good. It's funny how that works. I'm glad that it does. And I'm also very thankful that my parents, especially my mother, like really pushed that on me. Like, it's healthy, you need to eat it, it's healthy. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But it's like, yeah, just keep, like, it doesn't matter that you don't like it, just keep shoving it, and eventually you'll notice it'll feel good. And she would test that every time, because sometimes I just refuse to eat salad. And then later she'd be like, yeah, you feel a little bit drained now, don't you? Because you didn't eat your greens. Eventually, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I don't like it, but I need it. But yeah, I haven't really eaten it in a long time. But I just like this spring I felt like I need greens. I really need it. And so I went for it, and it's been really helpful. Right, so yeah, any suggestion, guys? What should I talk about? I mean, I can't talk about greens for 2 hours straight. I mean, I'm gonna be out of greens very quickly now. Which is fish. But ooh. Yeah, I'm never doing that. I mean, I need fish, but I'm not eating fish. I'm just not doing it. It's because plugging my nose, it's not enough. Like, the entire taste would just hang around for like an hour. I'm not doing it. I'm just taking fish oil. It's a great way to get what you need. But I'm not eating fish. I just, like, unless like I'm really hungry and there's nothing else. I mean, I'm not gonna rather starve than eat fish, but I really don't like eating fish. That's not gonna change. The kosher rule of taking food? What? Well, I know there's like kosher slaughtering. I don't really know what to think about that. Yeah. So I'm gonna refrain from having an opinion about that. But if the anything else you want, yeah, about it, because I think kosher is beyond just the slaughtering rules and all that. Is that hello? Yeah, halal is also slaughtering. I don't know. I just stick to organic. Jewish version of halal, right? So yeah, I don't really uphold specific rules. I've kind of I heard something about it. I don't even know if that's real or if it's like some old classical thing that you're not supposed to use dairy products and the meat of the same animal and like heat it up together. That you're not supposed to do that. So to try and compartmentalize basically all the things that you're going to be using. And yeah, that's sometimes a bit tricky because hey, I eat a lot of beef and I do like using butter for frying. But I do notice that if I just when I eat chicken, I use a lot of butter. That works fantastical. If I eat like red beets with bratwurst and potatoes and all that and gravy, well then I do use butter, but I mean it does feel much heavier afterward. So I don't know, I've taken notice of that, definitely. I've tried to eat like that. But I mean, some things I just don't really know how to manage without using both beef and butter. So I don't know if that's a thing that people do. Kosher is more strict, yeah. Right, but one thing also, like I cook in a spiritual way. It's just I do everything like that. I mean, that's my life. And with cooking, that means that I don't basically allow myself to radiate negativity under any circumstance towards my food. I might be frustrated and be like, "Arr," but I never like blame the food or something. It sounds weird, right? But I mean, that way, I don't get like, I hate you, and then end up eating that I hate you. Because that actually has a bad influence. It's weird, but it does. So I always, in that sense, bless my food and not very like, oh, I'm gonna pray for the happiness of my food or something, but at least refrain from cursing or projecting my mood onto it if it's negative. And always I try to remember, like, if it's meat, like, yeah, that was an animal, and I hope that animal lived really well. And then I basically sense that out. And yeah, well, organic food animals definitely have great lives. They do. They do appreciate it. Temperament can have an impact on it. Yes. Right. And that's why when you're at a restaurant, you should never piss off the chef. Make sure you don't. Mm. What is the longest I have fasted? Well, I don't think I've ever really completely fasted for very long, longer than like 2 days, where I literally only drink water and drink tea and all that. I did that like a whole, yeah, somewhere in 2002, I think, or three. But I mean, when I fast, for me, that basically means I eat less. I just eat less. I am not gonna eat absolutely nothing at all. That's not good for me. It just isn't. I mean, I only do that something in that direction when I get sick. I mean, when I get sick, I automatically eat much less, and that works great. But yes, I'm very well familiar with fasting being a healing process, giving your body time to repair itself, not being burdened by the task of metabolic assimilation. So it can transform, the inner system can be set better towards regenerating. I know, that's real. But I mean, my metabolism is pretty fast, so that effect initiates pretty quickly with me. Mm. Wow. Okay, Tiger Bear. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. No, Borders Boy. No, I haven't, and I don't care because I eat animals. I eat them. And I will keep eating them. And if that, for some reason, tortures you, that's your fucking problem, not mine. I mean, come and stop me. I'm not gonna stop. Hey, Mr. Cheswick. Good to see you. You've been pumping out some songs, haven't you? Vegans never recover from this? Oh, from some slaughterhouse shit? Yeah, I'll bet you. But, I mean, go fuck yourself. I eat organic. Yeah? That shit doesn't happen to organic animals. So, it's very simple. Yeah, that was my response. Like, oh, animals are suffering. Okay, well, let's make sure they suffer less. There you go. That doesn't mean, oh, stop it all. Oh, but let's eat bugs instead. No thanks. Oh, we can get around with vegetables. No, not really. Or unless you've got really good sources and it's gonna be expensive. So, no. No, I'm not interested in a logical, rational position of your fanatical faith. I don't, Borders Boy. I've absolutely no interest in that whatsoever. If you want to torture yourself over that, it's your problem, not mine. There's enough torture in the world already. Don't need to add that shit. Ah, okay, yeah, Jesuit. Yeah, I mean, but you should know that. You can still talk about things, you just don't show things. Yeah. I talk about medical things all the time here. Talk about how viruses don't exist, how Koch's postulates have been basically misapplied throughout the entire history of it. And how, the medical system, not because of even actions of people within it, but just because of the entire way it's structured, is a fraud in that sense. I mean, surgeons still do surgery and they're very much appreciated for that ability. But I mean, the rest of it, it's pretty much a gigantic fraud. And I just talk about that and I don't get any medical misinformation tags for it at all. But as soon as you start to show some doctors that made videos and shit, yeah, that's what you get. If you don't want that, then just talk about it. Don't show, tell. Besides, I mean, you don't really need to state the obvious at this point. People that aren't wanting to listen to all that, they're gone. Don't let them take you with them by you feeling the necessity to push it further to somehow wake them up, because it's not going to happen. Those people are in for the ride until their death. And there's nothing you can do to stop them. So don't waste your energy or don't risk your channel stating the obvious. Stating that which people already know that will pay attention to that. Just, it's a waste of time. That is odd considering. No, it isn't. You're just a whiny vegan gamma borders boy, and I don't give a shit about what you want. I don't care. I'm gonna eat animals. I'm gonna eat organic meat. And nothing is going to stop me except for the organic meat no longer being available. And I'm gonna make sure that it's not gonna happen. And vegans need to get the fuck out. Yeah? You're literally working with the fucking beast system, with Marxists, to try to force your fucked up ideology. And I do not appreciate you for that. You understand? Keep your fucking veganism bullshit to yourself. You don't want to eat it? You think it's horrible? You don't eat it. And keep it to your damn self. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna change my mind, and I don't give a shit. So stop whining. Stop trying to advertise for your fucked up religion. So yeah, in general, on YouTube, you can really talk about a lot of things. Even things that are kind of bordering no-no subjects. And you won't really get into trouble too quickly. You get into trouble when you start playing videos that are like red listed. Because they're about the current thing and shit. When you do that, that's just asking for trouble. Don't do that. Don't do that sort of thing. And you won't get in trouble. If you really want it to be a subject to talk about, then go on camera and just talk about it. Don't show, tell. What's your thoughts on this Earth moving upwards debate? I'd made shows about it, Mr. Cheswick. Called Advanced Relative Density. 3 shows I did about it last week. Right? My thoughts on it are, well, the Earth is definitely stationary, and if it is, the entire realm, container and all, is moving in an acceleratory fashion, we would never be able to prove that, because you'd have to go outside and basically change reference frames in order to prove that, and that's never going to happen. So you can't prove it, but yeah, mathematically, if you assume the entire realm would be accelerating upwards, then, well, that would explain the gradient or the density axis. When you start moving mediums within it, the density axis alters in accordance to the added force of the accelerating medium. And that's kind of like how you can conclude, yeah, it's almost like the Earth would be accelerating upward, wouldn't it? Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just, it's like it's accelerating upwards. It's like a gravity. It's an aberration. It's not provable. It's not real, but it works out great when you start calculating things. So that's it. You could think of the Earth as being accelerating upward, and that would explain the density axis, but you can never prove that it's accelerating upwards. And it's really annoying, and it looks really fucking stupid if you try to insist that it is accelerating upwards literally, and this and that. That's just being stupid. It makes you look really stupid, because it's very logical that the Earth isn't accelerating upward from any perspective. From a baller's point of view, it looks even sillier, of course. When you say that, it's pointless. It doesn't make you look smart for pointing out something that's purely mathematical, not actual. So yeah, the Earth isn't accelerating up, but you could think of it as accelerating up, and then the math concerning the density axis works out great. That's it. It's that simple. It's begging the question enormously, Richard G. You like grass-fed steaks? Yeah, me too, Mojo. Right, so I hope that clarifies, Mr. Cheswick, about the upward acceleration. If you want to check out those shows, just look in this channel for Advanced Relative Density. There's 3 shows with that title. It sure feels... Now, it is stationary. The Earth is definitely stationary, or rather, the realm. Look, the point is, it gets really confusing when you go, like, as a flat earther up against ballers, and you talk about, oh, the stationary Earth, it's not rotating, right? But that is about the soil you're effectively standing on in relation to the medium it is in, right? And yeah, it's definitely not moving separate from the medium, right? The Earth itself is definitely stationary, but the idea of the Earth accelerating upward means not the Earth in relation to the container, it means the entire thing. It means Earth and container and all of it accelerating upwards. That's the idea behind it. You can never falsify that. Yeah? If you could prove the container would be accelerating upward, that would require you to be able to leave the container. And if you'd leave the container, that would mean that the container would be compromised. Like, that means a hole in the container versus what? Like, and it might literally never be possible. So it's completely pointless to really think, oh, I'm going to prove we're accelerating upward. Yeah. It's the entire realm, though. Not the dirt in relation to the container we're in. So that gets a bit confusing. Right, so if the entire container would be accelerating or whatever, we wouldn't know. We can only draw a conclusion like, yeah, it might be accelerating up because that's how the density axis is, and that would make sense, but you can't prove it. Right? And even Einstein figured it. Einstein said it. Oh, yeah, it's just accelerating upward. Technically, that is brilliant. I mean, that is like one of his brilliant insights, because it's a purely mathematical insight, right? I mean, the guy was a fantasist and like a pure theorist mathematician, and he had very little respect for physics and all that, really. But yeah, technically, mathematically, it's exactly a correct insight. I mean, he caught it. It's like, yeah, it's just gravity just accelerating upward. That's how you notice here. And like, people are like, what is he talking about? But yeah, take the entire realm and it would be accelerating upward. Yeah, that would cause a density axis. It would. But I mean, we can't really compare it, because we can't alter this scenario that we would be presupposing. Can't change the supposed acceleration upward. So it's, yeah, you can never prove it. But mathematically, it just works out great. The Earth is not accelerating upwards. It's pointless to say it is or it isn't. As far as we can tell, we are stationary. And yeah, accelerating upwards into infinity is kind of, well, it's not silly. It's going to be silly if you're going to reify it into physical reality. That's weird. It's like accelerating into what? What would be there? Like an infinite abyss space of nothing? How could it accelerate infinitely? Wouldn't that mean that there's like some bizarre finite amount of length that it would be accelerating since the beginning of time to the end of time, and that at the end of time we're going so fast we're like going 1,000 times light speed or whatever, theoretical light speed, right? Because light doesn't actually have a speed. It becomes all really bizarre when you think about that. Thank God math is real. Yeah, no, not really, Glasgow homeopath. Anyway, good to see you, bad guy. What? What are you talking about, Tiger Bear? Up is dependent on... No, up is up. It's based on the way it's set. And it's stationary within Euclidean space, so up is just always up. That's the way it is. Now, what causes up? Caused the up to be up and down to be down? Well, you could argue, yeah, that's the acceleration. It caused the density axis to be like that. But you can never prove it. Right? So are you going to like hop on that as an aberration? Are you going to do the same thing as dielectric acceleration or the ether or ballers and their gravity? Are you going to do that? Or are you just going to leave it alone? Because you can never prove it. Right. And yeah, I like to stick to stuff we can prove too. Although I like to stick to stuff that can be proven. And I like to figure out things like, can something be proven or not? What would it require? How would you be able to find out? What could be, right? That's my thing. Hey, is that the sun? Yay. A little bit of sun. Yeah. Oh, that would be great. Clear it up a bit. The gravity, the answer to all life questions. That's hilarious. Right. And the funny thing, by the way, is that this, the guys over at FED are not going to appreciate me doing this, but technically, you could save Newtonian mechanics. In the sense that not the mass attracting mass, because that's just nonsense, but like the overall idea of it with the density and buoyancy, because, well, it all does work under one specific condition though, that there is a limited volume available, that there's a container, and then yeah, the buoyant stuff will be displaced by the less buoyant stuff, the gases including, and then it will kind of like, yeah, form a gradient as it does. But only because there's a container there to basically limit the maneuvering room for the gases, right? Isn't that just funny? The same thing goes for the, accelerating up disk Earth. Yeah, guess what? It requires it to be an entirely closed system for that to work. It can't just be a disk in open space accelerating upward with no container. That's absolutely bizarre, and it's super annoying when the Flat Earth Society shows that kind of drawing. Like, yeah, it's a disk accelerating upward. It's no dome. It's just like an open space, and like, fuck you. That's super retarded, and it's like that on purpose, right? It's accelerating upward. It only works if the whole thing is a closed system. Closed means closed. Isolated would be even better. Like completely, nothing could ever escape. How do you calculate density without mass? How do you calculate mass without density? Mass isn't real. It's a derived concept. Yeah. Right? Density, substantial. Physically substantial. No, it's not a hologram. You're getting a timeout. That fucking attitude, bitch. Don't you fucking talk to me like that. Yeah? Density is substantial. It's a thing, definitely recognized in physics to be a thing. The density of material can be defined non-numerically, can be detected non-numerically by comparing materials and their density. Where will they go in relation to each other? That's a fact. Yeah, you can't do that with mass. You can only ever calculate mass. That's the only thing you can do to get the concept of mass from something else, which is usually involving density. Density is physically real. It's physics. It's substantial. It's real. Mass is not real. It's a concept. It's a derived mathematical concept. And it's been heavily colloquialized. because mass also means like weight to people. The mass of it. But in physics, mass isn't a thing. Right? That's why for an FED the guys say, what's mass? Yeah, what is it? I don't know, Tiger Bear, I'm not hearing it. Oh, getting hungry. It's great, by the way. Like, bugs are all walking around. I got spiders again in the room. Really happy to get them back. It's like, yes, welcome back, spiders. I love you guys because they eat mosquitoes and flies. It's great. And they know they're welcome. It's kind of funny. They really do know they're welcome. I think I've got like a weird spiritual understanding with a lot of insects. Mosquitoes being kind of the exception, but I've even noticed that there's lots of bugs everywhere, but I have not really been stung by mosquitoes. So maybe it's not the season or something? I'm not seeing them around a lot. I can't say I'm sorry about it, by the way. Mosquitoes are really fucking annoying to me. I did SWAT 1 yesterday. There's a lot of those like long-legged mosquitoes that aren't really mosquitoes. That always like go around. What are they called? They kind of look like mosquito. We call them long-legged mosquitoes here in the Netherlands, but they aren't mosquitoes. They're like plant eaters or something. Weird stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of them around. Hello, Phil No Spill. And it's to me also, it's so funny because in the past I used to be kind of scared of bugs a bit, like mosquitoes and spiders. I don't have it anymore, and like they really just leave me alone. Like they hang around, but they don't try to get on me or something. It's like only freaking mosquitoes, regular ones, do that. And it's kind of funny. Maybe it's because of my spiritual ascension and my technique being applied all the time that it's like I feel like I really got an understanding with the bugs. I got an understanding with the bugs. I will not be eating them, and they appreciate it. And I won't swat them either, except if they're freaking mosquitoes that actually sting. Sometimes it's a bit tough to tell, like, is that a mosquito or is it not a mosquito? And then I kind of leave it alone. But when I'm certain it is, also because of the way it hangs around. Like, stinging mosquitoes have a very distinct way of well, sitting still. They sit really still when they sit on something, and they have a very distinct way of flying around, and that's how I recognize them now, rather than by the way they look, because there are some like flies that look almost identical to mosquitoes. Yeah, I will not eat the bugs. Thank you very much, classical homeopath. But I'm okay with bugs thriving out there, the good ones. The beetles and flies and mosquitoes too, except like just stay out of my house. Let them be bat food and swallow food. Plenty of bees too. I got 3 bees in my bee hotel. There's like 5 of those tubes, and 3 of them are now filled with bees. So, I mean, it is a wanted thing. And I've been thinking about like expanding the bee hotel to a bigger thing, and then like glue it together so the birds don't try to trash it. Because they used to be filled with tubes, but the freaking magpies just get bored and then ripped the tubes from there and then like threw them around. So I lost most of them. Are they the ones that whiz around and bump? What? Well, wood bees is what I think they're called. Wood bees. They are like solitary bees, and they usually burrow in wood or something and then make a nest in there. But if you just have tubes around, then they'll take those tubes. Crane fly. Hello, Godzilla. Big mosquitoes. Yeah. And we don't have like any serious pests like that leave very painful stings. They're not here in this climate, thank God. You'd have to go to Spain to get that. Oh, the long-legged mosquitoes. Yeah, they bump into everything. They're like really messy, and they really stand out. But they're really cute. Like they don't bite. They don't do anything. They're friendly. They're vegetarian. Oh, they're called a crane fly. Oh, okay. Huh. Okay, thanks for that. I know that now. Right. It's kind of funny. My mother used to say that those creatures are actually like a blessing. The long-legged mosquitoes. The crane flies. Or even that they're like actually fairies. I heard somebody else say that, not my mother. That they're secretly the fairies or something. It's kind of funny. But I like those creatures. They have a good vibe to them. Hey LSG, good to see you. Female mosquitoes bite. Yeah, I know. But the female mosquitoes are the ones that seek you out. So. What the hell? Okay. Tiger Bear. Hey, Skeptic. N36, good to see you. What's the 5th dimension? Where did that come from? Right, the 5th dimension, which, yeah, it's it's basically the way through. It's like the other dimension through. If you consider fourth dimension the time dimension, which is kind of traditional, even though it is Einstein idea based. But the fifth dimension is just like the space through. It's literally another depth to physical reality. You could call the fifth dimension the space between spaces. Or through. That's what they're extremely point. What? Not the what is it? The crane flies, they're not poisonous as far as I know. Arachnophobic? No, I'm not arachnophobic. But there's like this weird little type of spider that's really weird. It's not really a spider, I think. Doesn't because it doesn't have like segments. It's like this, just a bunch of legs on a little ball. They're really odd, and they are like, they look very bizarre, archaic. And those creatures, like, they are super poisonous, but they can't bite through your skin. But if they could, you'd be dead like instantaneously. Those types of creatures. That's what I heard. Don't remember what they're called. But those like type spiders are weird. They're super long-legged and they always fold up. When they die, they fold up like a little block. It's weird. Right, the mosquito thing, the long-legged McDaddy mosquito, those aren't poisonous at all. I don't know what the hell they do. It's just, I don't know. Okay, diver Dan Navy vet. I'm sure they were. Never heard of it. Jesus, skeptic. No, no. Yeah, we don't have those here. I mean, I'm not arachnophobic, but yeah, black widows scare the shit out of me. False widows? What? Okay. What does that mean, bad guy? Oof. Yeah. Did you get like anti-venom for that, skeptic? Because I mean, that shit is potentially lethal. Depending on your constitution, I mean, if I'd get bit by those, I'd probably die. Maybe if you're a really big fellow that you could handle it better. What's that? Widow spiders. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Weird. The first time? You mean it happens more often? Rattlesnake bite over black. Yes. I mean, a rattlesnake bite's pretty freaking painful, so I've heard. But doable. People can potentially survive that. They were everywhere. So goody. Yeah, that guy. I mean, I'm not arachnophobic, but I don't like to be surrounded by big poison type spiders. But the muscle bound spiders, the ones that basically have a smaller body and like big legs and hairy legs, the jumpy type, those spiders are awesome. Like, it's like the boxing spiders that like jump onto a creature. Those are awesome. I love those spiders. They are never poisonous, and they're kind of fun. And they don't make webs either. They just crawl around, so you don't have to clean off their cobwebs. Didn't get super. Well, Zane, so he might have hallucinated that he had superpowers like Spider-Man from it for a bit, but I doubt it. What? What? That's a super highly presuppositional question there, Truth Over Comfort. I mean, is it in constant acceleration if it moves in an orbit? Well, officially, yeah, sort of. Well, it's not technically an orbit is not an acceleration. It's a continuous fall. I mean, orbit is technically constant. An acceleration would mean that it would speed up. That's not really happening officially, so the answer would be no. From within the heliocentric conception, if something is in an orbit, it's not accelerating. It's just falling around it, supposedly. Right? If something would be accelerating in a circular fashion, it would never maintain cohesion. Eventually, the centripetal force will rip it apart. veer off your vector. It's equivalent to XL. Okay, well maybe the NASA people will say that it does that or something. I don't know. Maybe they say, yeah, it's falling, but you can think of it as acceleration, because gravity, acceleration. So it's gravity pulling that and it's accelerating, even though it's moving at a constant speed. I don't know, man. I don't know how they explain it. I just know that there's no such thing as an orbit. It's a concept based on presuppositions of the Earth being a sphere and there being outer space, which there aren't. And lights moving in a circular fashion continually to the observer doesn't mean that there's physical objects moving around a presupposed globe. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Truth Overcome. It's not your claim, I think, but that makes no sense. Constant accelerating comparing to sitting in... Yeah, well, guess what? A train is not constantly accelerating. If it's accelerating, you'd feel it. It would have an axial density axis change. That's what happens when you do that. When a medium accelerates, the axis of the density shifts. A train doesn't have that because it's not continually accelerating. It's not a rocket shooting, like continually accelerate. No, it's just moving at speed and then it goes at a constant speed and then you don't feel it anymore. If the speed is constant, you don't feel it anymore. When it's accelerating, you definitely feel it because you're going to be subjected to a density axis change. Accelerate forward, you get pushed to the back because you're denser than the air you're in. And the axis of the dense will shift backward, while the less dense will shift forward slightly. So that would happen. So yeah, you can't feel the acceleration because it's like sitting in a train. That's just bizarre to say that. Train doesn't continually accelerate. If you accelerate it, you feel it. Fact is unavoidable. If you accelerate, you will feel it. If you move at a constant speed, you don't feel it. Why you don't feel spin? Well, because of doublethink. It's just, you know, the Earth is spinning because there's no Coriolis deviation. I mean, it's a similar scenario to the terrestrial refraction claim, right? You know it's a globe because it looks so flat. It's the same thing. You know we're moving because it's at a constant speed and you don't feel the movement. Like, dude. Right, anyway, gonna take a 2-minute break. I'll be right back. you guys talking about? It's getting a bit confusing. Oh. Right. Yeah, truth over God. I mean, yeah, seriously. The yeah, the Earth is not spinning. If the Earth would be spinning, we would have Coriolis deviation. And we don't. Done. Need R for... Yeah, of course. They always need R, don't they? And they don't have it. You can only presuppose R. Fraction. Spinning claims begging the question. Well, the refraction certainly is a begging the question paradox, even. Terrestrial refraction, as I explained yesterday. The spinning claim, however, is begging the question. Yeah, it's begging the question of the Earth being a sphere in the first instance to be able to spin like that. But yeah, it's weird how they just claim the Earth is spinning, yet don't want to accept that that would have physical consequences. And that's really the position from Ballers. It's like, yeah, well, in your model, the Earth is spinning, but that's kind of catastrophic, isn't it? Because that's definitely not happening. The palpable consequences of Earth spin would be numerous and ever present all the time. You would never have like stable air, ever. Like the wind would never stop, ever, at any point. Yeah, I think truth over comfort is quite new to the scene. It isn't really drilled through the flat Earth debates as much, have you? You just saw the title? Yeah. Yeah, I sneaked that one in. Thought that would be funny. Trying to learn? No, excellent. You're doing a great job. It's tough. It can be tough at first, and there's a lot to learn, right? But I mean, I personally have been doing this for 6 years now or something. On a daily basis. So I got patience, like, as long as you're not just an anti-flat earther who you could tell this like hundreds of times, like a Kumu virus, and he'd still say, no, you're wrong, or you don't understand our claim. Yeah, as long as you don't do that, you're cool. You're good. Right? If it's taking some time for you to get it, and you feel like, oh, I might be asking some kind of stupid question, but if you need it, if you need to clarify the detail, ask. Don't worry about it. Don't feel embarrassed. We've all asked that type of questions. I asked every conceivable question I could think of at the Flat Earth debates, even about subjects that I felt I was already very, very familiar with. I'd still ask detailed questions just to be sure. So yeah, Troop Overcome, you're very welcome here. And you're always welcome to ask more questions about Flat Earth. Right, but skeptic is correct. You need R for that. It's a response that you'll hear a lot from seasoned Flat Earthers. Because, yeah, it is technically correct. All these claims, spinning ball, orbits, all of that, it all is resting upon the presupposition that the Earth has a measurable radius, that it is a ball. If it is a ball, it has to have a radius. So where's the measurement of this radius, right? You're going to need R for that, including the claim of Earth spin. I mean, what would be spinning? A ball. Well, where's the evidence for that ball? You would need a measured radius value. They don't have any. They thought they had it when they made an Earth curve calculator, but then when the Earth curve calculator couldn't explain how you could have super far distant sites at extremely low observation heights, black swan observations, then they said, oh, but it's refracted. Remember, terrestrial, you know it's a sphere because it looks so flat, because it's all refracted. Well, guess what? Now they no longer have any indicator. No more leads left to attain the measured radius value. Right? So they're stuck. They're stuck with the radius value they can't get. If they would be able to get it, we'd have observations that we call black swan that would definitely prove that the radius that they think they're measuring is incorrect. And if they then say, oh, it's refracted, that's why it doesn't seem to be the normal geometric curve, well, then they will not be able to measure the radius any longer if it's not going to be consistently in its geometric literal position. Well, then you can never measure the radius. Then they will have to presuppose it forever, and they do. They can never have evidence for it. Alberoni measured it looking down the mountain. Yeah. But he measured it off a flat plane, though. Just like celestial navigation does everything on a flat plane. It's all based off a flat plane. And Alberoni's measurement of that mountain was also done off a flat... He did the geometry on a flat plane and then looked if at the end of the flat plane he measured himself to be on, if there would be a corner there that would indicate a curvature, right? That's basically what he did. He got on a flat plane, compared the size of the mountain, the height of it, to the flat plane to get the geometry right, went on the mountain, and then looked at the horizon and assumed that the horizon was now the edge of a sphere. It's all based off flat plane geometry. That's the funny thing about Alberoni. All of them. Everything they've done, the entirety of celestial navigation, how that's worked out, how they've done that with the GP system, with stars and everything. It's all based off a flat plane. It only works geometrically on a flat plane. And that's the crazy thing about it. The entire globe model is all based on measured flat data. There's nowhere to go for the ball. There really isn't. It's absolutely flat. Absolutely, no doubt. Yes, Richard G. It's a proof that the entire architecture of navigation and Euclidean layout of the realm was all done on a flat plane. That's what that proves directly. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, well, truth over comfort, your findings are very perceptive. You're correct. Every globe model claim is always begging the question. Always. No exception. It always does. It's done so systematically. It's been taught to kids that believe in the globe and want to understand it that they have to beg the question. And this is even like prominent globe storytellers out there that are into that. Astrophysicists, all those types of figures, they say it like, yeah, we beg the question, of course, because that's normal to them. They've been taught to do that because you have to do that. So yeah, very perceptive of you. It is true. All globe earth claims always beg the question. No exception. No exception. Zero. It's always presupposing. Always. Right? Entire globe earth cosmology is a religion, a mathematical religion of presupposition. So all of it is based in math, derived from flat planes and then bent in accordance to achieve the end goal, that you can calculate the earth to be spherical. And that's how it works. Right. It's also a religion of projection, by the way, because, yeah, as you say, they always say it can only work on a globe. But that's projection, because they think that they try to imagine a flat earth model, which is a ridiculous model. Everything about it is broken. Like they imagine, like, oh, the sun is literally above the earth, so why doesn't it shine over the entire flat earth, right? That sort of thing. And like, oh yeah, there's still outer space. And like their conception of flat earth, like Glober's conception of flat earth, is completely broken. Always. It always is, and they always fall back to that broken straw man model, because that's the only thing that they can imagine about flat earth that would be inferior to the way they presuppose the globe earth. So every time they're like, oh, it can't work on a flat earth, it only works on the globe, that's pure insane projection. Like, no, it absolutely doesn't work on a globe at all, ever. And you're just projecting that impossibility of your model onto a really clumsy straw man flat earth conception that nobody that is a flat earther ever claims. You always have to defend, like, no, that's not the way we see it. And then you end up bickering about their straw man of your flat earth. That's what they like to do. They'd much rather bicker about the straw man of your flat earth that you don't claim than to actually have the brutal flaws and inconsistencies highlighted about their own globe model. So yeah, projection is a very standard tactic for tenacious globe defenders. Just project their stupidity and flaws and their brokenness onto a straw man model of the flat earth. And then you will have to defend your flat earth against the straw man model so that their globe earth doesn't get highlighted with its flaws. That's what they do. Right, anyway, show is almost rounding out. 15 more minutes or so. Like to ask again, please support me and my channel, my efforts here. It would be great. I can really use the support through PayPal specifically. If you can, if you're watching this afterward, you're entertained, you're informed, you're curious for more, please support me. That would be great. Oh, Skeptic. Again? Skeptic. Skeptic every time. What the? Thank you so much, Skeptic. I mean, it's almost, you're almost single-handedly supporting me. Others too, by the way. But you've been doing it a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I see you got a standard amount now that you do. That's perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Keeps me going. Thank you for your unwavering support, man. Skeptic with the big W? What? What does that mean? Don't the oceans need a container to hold the water in? Well, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Okay, but big win. Yeah, indeed. Right, but yeah, the oceans need to be contained. Well, they are contained. They're contained either by land that surrounds them or by the limited available volume. I mean, if the Earth is looping, then just like the air will press against itself within the limited volume, so will the water. It will just be in the loop, pressing laterally, and then it will be contained by the limitation of the volume available within the loop. Right? So ocean can be continuous, east and west, right? Technically the ocean stretches throughout the entire Earth. There's no place where the ocean doesn't cross, right? That's known fact. So there's no landmass that literally bridges from the north to the south, completely splitting the ocean apart. Well, conclusion would be not that it's a freaking disk, because it isn't. Yeah, too much stuff to fit in the north point. So yeah, it would just be contained by the loop. I know it can be a little bit puzzling to some of you every time I bring up a loop in the face of like containment questions, because it does kind of defy the typical assumption about containers that they always have to be physical barriers. Well, yeah, in a looping spatial system, it doesn't need to have a barrier because the volume is limited by the way space is interconnected within it. Right? In a loop, it has nowhere to go but onto itself. See how that works? Is that clear enough, or do I need to explain it further? Hello, Kevlar, by the way. See you. Man, 28 watching. Got a lot of people here. I really appreciate all of you showing up. It's great. And it's a pleasure having you around here, Truth Over Comfort. It's great to have a newbie asking questions. It's great. Isn't container the antecedent for ocean? Like, yes, of course. Well, there has to be containment in order to be gas pressure and water pressure, because if the whole system was open and the gas would evacuate, well, then the oceans would also depressurize and evaporate. All of it. All the water would be gone. All the liquids would be gone. They would all evaporate because of the depressurized scenario. So yes, it definitely requires a limitation of volume available, a containment, in order for water to form bodies like that, like an ocean. Definitely. So you're correct. The container antecedent is definitely applicable to oceans as well. Well spotted. A circle? No. When you think of a loop, you think of a circular shape. Well, that's cool and all, but it isn't though. But hey, if you try to imagine spatial intercontinuity, yeah, then it's like, oh, you take a piece of paper, then you put a pencil through one side of the paper, then through the other side, and now it's so connected. The wormhole concept, right? That's really cute imagination of like how spatial looping or wormhole would happen, yeah, you could think of a loop as a circular shape, but it isn't. Because it's a straight line. Well, most likely, right? East to west, straight line. You could think of that straight line looping in on itself as a circle, but of course, it isn't literally a circle. Level water can only be replicated in a container. Yes. Correct. Or I'd rather say like water can only be. No, it's fair. Never mind. You said it right. Anyway, to detect the loops? No, you can't detect spatial nonlinearity. You can't actually detect space, you see? Space, like mass, is actually a derivative. It's another derivative from density, right? You have density divided into space and mass. So the thing is, you can't measure a loop. Like, you literally can't, but you can derive that there is a loop by following geometric pathways in Euclidean space and then ending up in the same location even though you went a straight line, right? That is derived proof. It's not measured. It's not like, oh, we found it, we found the loop. No, that's not how it works. It's not like a portal or an edge. It's a continuum. But you can derive that the continuum is the way it is by Euclidean measurement within it. Right? So you can definitely prove that there is a loop, but you can't measure the loop itself because it's space. It's the way space is connected with other space. You can't actually measure that. You can only derive how it is. It's kind of the weird thing about spatial dynamics, isn't it? You're confused? Okay, fair enough. I mean, spatial dynamics are weird. I mean, this is basically, it's similar territory as what astrophysicists and all that have gone into, like, oh, just another dimension, oh, what if this, the wormhole, ooh. And it's all based on math and ideas, and it's all garbage. Everything they say is garbage. It is. It's all based on the presupposition of the galaxy. It's complete nonsense. But you can use that mechanism of approaching reality, the way of thinking, to figure out if everything is entirely linear or if it isn't, right? Is space linear? That's the question. Is it linear? Well, if space is linear, then you're not going to have a Euclidean representation of a map and then have a bunch of land at the center of that map that's like huge, right? You can derive a conclusion from that. It's like, oh yeah, it's not a disk. There's the land there is in the map scaled down. It has to be scaled down because otherwise it wouldn't fit. Well, what's the conclusion? Well, it doesn't fit. So it can't be literally that disk. because you can't have a Euclidean situation where simply something just doesn't fit. If it's only the real representation spatially if it fits, if everything is of a consistent scale. That's just a fact. Right. But I'm gonna round out the show. So thanks everyone for coming. I hope you liked this show. If you did, then please don't forget to Rogans it up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That would be much appreciated. I can always use the support. And thank you, Skeptic, for continually supporting me as you have. I really appreciate it. Keep me going. Thank you very much for that. I'm sure everybody else here thanks you for it as well. Right. So I'll be back tomorrow with Flat Earth Early Bird number 1602 on a Tuesday, and I'm going to join the Flat Earth debates over at Nathan Oakley 9080 channel, which should start up any minute now. Hope to see you there in the chat. And until the next video, keep it flat.